Welcome back to Noka Media, your source for Northern Ontario homegrown media content.
Over the last year or so, we've been covering the homelessness crisis and the growing encampment out in Sudbury. A few days ago, we posted a video which criticized CTV for calling it a myth that people come here from out of town to use the resources and then end up staying. CTV really didn't like that because they pressured YouTube into removing the video. And this is not a traditional copyright strike, which gives us the opportunity to remove the video ourselves or change the content. This was a much more serious action they filed with YouTube, which led to my video being instantly removed and an actual copyright strike being put on my channel. What is it that we took from them? It was footage of the current mayor and the chief of police speaking publicly. I will now play the audio of these public servants speaking, and I'll cut out the news anchors from CTV. This way, none of what you're seeing now has a copyright. These public servants are speaking at what was called a safety meeting after a motion was filed to better address addiction intervention.
The Greater Sudbury Police Service Board requests the Ontario government to enact legislation that provides for involuntary addiction treatment, which would include assessment services, stabilization intervention, treatment and follow-up support for individuals who chronically place service demands on police, accessible and affordable housing, social services, and healthcare system.
When we are called and there is an offense that has been committed, we are holding those offenders accountable and we are putting people before the courts. But again, sometimes the court system isn't what this individual needs. And just because they're unhoused and they have mental health issues and addiction issues doesn't necessarily mean they're a threat to public safety.
The chief then goes on to say that arrests and seizures only make things worse and makes them result to petty theft, that at the end of the day, they need to accept help and we can't give them any involuntary help.
That's why there was a motion filed today by the board asking the province and the federal government to look at the legislation. What tools can we have to better support these individuals and ensure that they get the help that they need when they need it, not when they want it.
They then tell us that HSN weighed in about long-term care, and they say that there's a wait list. What they mean here is we can't just grab people and force them into long-term care because we simply don't have the resources to do it.
We don't only look at the needs in community of Sudbury, but we also look at the needs across northeastern Ontario. And in many of our programs, we are the only service in all of northeastern Ontario.
This now is when CTV News calls it a myth. They say that they addressed the myth of homeless people being given a bus ticket to come to Sudbury. But then the public servants proceed to tell us why they're coming to Sudbury and not leaving.
Bus tickets back to where they came from. The Crown or the courts don't tell them they have to go back where they came from, so we inherit. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Because of their regional hospital that we have here, and certainly we have a regional jail as well. Sometimes those individuals come here and they don't have the capacity or the ability to return home. And therefore, they stay here, and we heard evidence of that today. And now, how do we coordinate better with that that they are returned home and they are taken care of in their communities? Because that's ultimately what should be happening.
I don't know why they want to deny it instead of address it. We've already confirmed the people were sent here from out of town. We've met a few of them. And the reality is the city wouldn't know. People wouldn't tell them. The other towns wouldn't tell them. It could also be done privately. We don't really know who's paying for a bus ticket for them to get down here. But whatever method it is, whatever reason and whoever's behind it, people are coming to Sudbury to use the resources grow the homelessness encampment, and then are staying here. They know this. Now they're trying to pass it off as, well, it's just a result of having a regional hospital or a regional jail. People get sent here from all over and then they end up staying. Another topic that we've been covering for the last year or so is jails. How much resources are being put into them and how overcrowded, overrun they are, and basically showing that the government has this knack for mismanaging any programs that they're involved in. This same CTV News broadcast then spoke about some issues in prisons. They start by telling us that August 10th is now Prisoners' Justice Day, and that more than half of the deaths that occur while incarcerated are unnatural deaths. They then show us a few guests speaking, and I'll play that audio now.
I spent most of the month crammed into a 4x8 cell with 2 other adult males feeling unsafe and even scared, keeping my feelings to myself in an effort not to bother my cellmates. With this level of overpopulation, there's absolutely zero chance of everyone receiving their mental health care.
Unfortunately, it's a sad reality. It really is a sad reality. But it also shows us that we have a lot of work to do. And I'm hopeful that in the future we'll start really taking a look at some of these correctional facilities, especially since our current government is looking at spending more money. Well, let's see if we can improve the conditions and decrease the rate at which people pass while incarcerated.
That last lady we heard speak is on the ball. If we're going to spend money, let's see what we can do to improve the conditions out there and to lower the amount of unnatural deaths. Because having more than 50% of deaths while incarcerated be by unnatural causes, and we've covered some of them, unnatural causes are things like a boot to the skull. It's a very brutal place. And a lot of those people are put there because of certain legislation that may not be so serious. And then because of overcrowding, they're paired with violent criminals who truly deserve to be there. We've seen a similar story of this, where a man was scheduled to be released soon, but he was with a violent criminal as an inmate. And one night, it became a very long night, and that prisoner could not be released anywhere after that. There are a lot of issues in this country, and we can't possibly fix them all. But awareness is the first step. Being aware of some of the things going on means that we can advocate and push the government to bring some solutions.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you have a story or event you would like to see featured on this channel, just send us an email at nocaudits@gmail.com.